Ashley's coming in. We got Ashley coming in. Hello, Ashley.
Hello.
All right, I've got to change switch. Hell yeah! There we go. We are just moving into. This is brand new. This is the witches account that we can now host from
Well, host from until we lose TikTok.
until we lose TikTok. That is because everybody
Well, I
knows
mean,
that
are
it
we
is.
really going to lose it on the 19th, or are we just going to lose the ability to update it?
From what I
It's
understand,
not like they can go through and delete it from our phones.
no, that's the thing. From what I understand is that like immediately it will probably disappear from the stores. So if you don't have the app, you won't be able to download it, and there won't be any updates further. Then I think probably the service providers will start blocking traffic. They'll block TikTok's like URL. So then,
Okay.
if we're using like AT&T's internet or whatever internet you have, Verizon or whatnot, I think you just won't have like it'll just be like there's no internet connection essentially.
Got it.
Which means everybody else should be able to look at all our stuff. So, important news for everybody who's thinking they want to like burn it all down and create a
Hey,
new white
listen. I'm
palace
gonna
by the
I'm gonna burn
river.
it all down just because I'm gonna burn it all down just because I want to. Like,
That's just
I'm
it.
not gonna
Just
I'm
as
not
long as
gonna
you want
mention
to.
any names. I'm gonna stay above it. I'm not gonna mention any names because I'm so disgusted.
You just don't
Ugh,
just do it
I'm
because you
so
want to do it.
disgusted.
Don't do it because you think it won't be there the next day. Because it will.
Oh no. My intention is for it to be there the next day and the next day and the next day.
Exactly. Because sometimes it seems so extreme to me. I'm terrible with technology. The ban there's no good reason for them to ban the app. It's all politics and it's
Control.
all like
It's
theater.
it's control.
There's Chelsea.
And the
Come
thing
on
about
in,
it
Chelsea.
is like
You're
you
like a
see
vampire,
Trump
and we just
making a
invited you
show.
in.
You see Trump making a show of, oh, I'm trying to fix it. I'm trying to make it stop. And he's not. He's trying to look like
Well, who
he's
knows
doing
what's.
something.
I am definitely out of loop on political stuff, which is why I
Me
was
too.
hoping we could get into that with Phil today. But I need to update y'all. He is running late, like to the point that we will see if he can even join us today.
Okay.
Oh,
But,
really?
yeah, a little unfortunate, but he's like I was saying at the top of the hour, he's stuck in our nation's capital. He's stuck in King's Landing. He's trying to come in, like they're just like stopping everybody at the mud gate, and they're just not letting anybody through right now. So he's waiting. He's waiting. Oh, and but speaking of which, we got Taryn. We
Karen.
got Taryn coming in. Yes, I hope everybody's feeling better today because, oh my God, it feels like everybody's been going through it.
Yeah, it's been brutal. Thank you, Haley. I am currently doing well, and that could change at any moment. And so I'm just very much learning how to live in and appreciate the present.
What we,
Yeah.
what we can appreciate is more lockets.
More lockets. Yes, more lockets. I'm really excited.
Chelsea had to stop me last night. I was like, I'm going to do this one and this one. And she's like, let's just wait for
You're
Rohan.
getting out of control. You are
Let me.
getting no, it's really I love making them for you because it's you and I because it's like I just feel like when I know someone, I can make them better because I know them. I know what they're gonna like and stuff like that. And so I need this Rohan Weber to be perfect, and I don't want to take on anything else until she's
Oh
just
my
right.
God. And I'm so excited for it. I was like, I need a real spider in there.
And
It's
that's
on
what
its
we're waiting
way.
on, right? With the spiders on back order.
For real, it's coming from like Thailand or something. And it was like,
Really?
I really wanted to do it like biblically accurate for you. I really wanted to do that, but it just like was not fucking possible to find a red spider that would fit inside one of the lockets because I was able to find really cool red spiders, but they were.
I was literally telling you, hey, price does not matter. Like, if you can find me a red spider.
We had to go with black. We're gonna change around the color scheme a little bit. Like it'll be the same colors, but the background will be different.
Just don't let her talk you out. She's a clever she's a clever salesperson. She could talk you in. She talked me into putting white into my locket.
It's true. He was very against for his brand, the Three-Eyed Crow. He was very against the Weirwood being incorporated because Bran exists outside of the Weirwood in how Eric feels about Bran.
They're not because it's like he's just learning in the Weirwoods.
It's just a tool. It's like a means to an end. This was about the end.
Weirwood should be included in a Bran locket, though. Like
I made that argument.
Okay, there we go. I was sending her an invite, and then I think we got it now.
I made that argument, and
Karen, I thought you were coming in.
I'm sorry. I'm having freaking technical difficulties with this iPad. Okay. It made me, it glitched out. I had to delete the app, reload it.
Golly.
And let's do that. Let's make sure we all have the app before the app gets banned.
Yeah, so I think you guys were talking about this right when I popped in, but what is it on the 19th it just shuts off? Like what?
I know the same thing that happened.
You won't be able to download it, and you won't be able to update it.
Yeah, so that's what
so
the same
eventually
thing
we'll be
happened.
phased out of it because of the updates, right?
Do y'all remember what happened with Floppy Bird or Flippy Bird? Y'all remember that app?
Flappy.
Flappy Bird. They did the same thing. I don't know, something major happened, and so what happened was they took it off the App Store, and then people who had the app downloaded on their phone were selling it on eBay for $10,000.
Of course they were. God, of course they did.
What I think is going to happen, people will probably do that. That's crazy.
Yeah, people are totally
do that. But what I think is going to happen first is that the app won't be available to download, and then there's going to be no more updates. And then on top of that, the internet providers will stop connecting you to TikTok. So eventually, I think we'll all still have the apps on our phones, and it just will it'll be there's no internet.
It'll eventually go obsolete.
I see.
Kind of like what Apple does whenever your device is too old.
Whatever
it no longer is compatible with doing the update.
Whatever you put up is going to stay there.
Eric keeps telling me this I don't know. I don't know.
We haven't gone down this road 6 times yet.
I mean, don't you think that Cersei's going to know that torching King's Landing is going to have permanent consequences?
I don't know if she does.
Do it.
I don't know if she does.
I think her version of a consequence is that, everybody's going to be dead, and she'll be unpopular for making that choice. But at least not unpopular to anybody in King's Landing, because they'll all be dead.
100%, exactly. She'll have 100% approval rating of all the people who are left in King's Landing.
That's true. Okay.
I missed the news about our special guest. When is he joining?
Oh, he's currently on the tarmac.
Oh,
so
okay.
We'll see if he'll be able to join because he got delayed several times. He's traveling right now.
Yeah, I
especially
feel him on
now
that.
with the weather going nuts.
Yeah, it's freezing here in Florida, freezing. I stepped outside and I was like, no.
No, thank you.
Winter
I'm
is
offended
here.
by the weather.
But yeah, I really wanted to talk to him about because we did start political, and speaking of the app going away, people putting out their bridge burning opinions. Yeah, he said Phil said something. Our guest.
I'm not going to mention any names.
I'm gonna talk about him now. He said what I believe, which is that how do conservatives?
Yeah.
How do you identify with A Song of Ice and Fire? Because it's
Right.
everything that's bad in that book is what you believe.
Because they do a superficial read of it. That's why they're taking everything at like face level, surface value, and you're not supposed to do that. It's not how you read it.
I really shouldn't be surprised because,
Also, it wouldn't be the first time that conservatives have consumed something or been in spaces that aren't for them. Like, they're always criticizing Disney. Oh, Disney's so woke, Disney's so liberal. And yet I see so many people in MAGA hats and shirts at Disney.
I think I watched a TikTok of a guy, some Trump supporter, and he's like, "I'm gonna wear my MAGA hat at Disney," and then like he like recorded himself like with like a chest, prop selfie stick thing, and like he's like, "Wow, no one said anything to me."
Now everybody does think. Everybody thinks you look ridiculous because most people go to Disney in Disney attire, and everybody thinks you look like a clown because you're the only one there in MAGA. Now, I don't see a lot of MAGA people there, but like the people who are stupid enough to wear it, they just get ignored because no one is messing with you.
What was the last thing I went to at my downtown square? I forgot. Oh, it was Oktoberfest. We went to Oktoberfest, and there was this couple who had just got done parking, and they were garbed in like Trump's face and like the hat that says 45 and 47. And then y'all know my neighbor down the street that flew the ultra MAGA flag. We were driving past his house the other night, and he had like his dining room blinds open, and this dude has like I don't know, it's like 4 or 5 foot tall portrait of Trump with the American flag on the back, like plain as day. You can see it from the street, and I'm like,
that could honestly,
that's weird.
That could never be me. That could never be me with any politician ever. I don't ever see myself completely aligning with any American politician ever. But even if I did by some miracle, I still would not do that.
I could not do that with a real living human being.
Weird.
Okay, now I have a life-size
sorry, no shade
of Anakin Skywalker. So
that's okay, but like it's him in character.
Yes,
that is a character. There's a fine line.
It is very strange. It is very strange to me how, like, moving out of politics, how people idolize actors and celebrities and people like that. Like, the people who make Matt Smith edits where they make that their entire personality, that, oh my gosh, I want him, I'd be on my knees for him. I'm like, do you not know that if he saw any of these videos, he'd be weirded out?
Yeah,
it would
Karen,
be so uncomfortable.
you have a cutout.
I mean, it's okay to think someone's attractive, but to go as far as I've seen some people do, I'm like, it comes across as very creepy and stalkerish, and you're weird for that.
Yeah, it's the pitfalls of being like a celebrity. But like I was going to say, Taryn, you have the cutout. But I mean, you met Hayden Christensen.
I have.
As a person. So it's like, it's not like you're doing what Ashley is describing, which is like
I might have reposted a few thirst traps of him in his his Lance agrees.
Lance is like, it's fine.
Yes. But I'm not gonna sit there and sexualize him on the whole internet to see. I will do that in my head, and maybe to y'all. Just like you with Sauron, but these are fictional characters. I'm not doing it to Hayden Christensen. I'm doing it about the fictional character that he played.
Yeah, no, I'm seeing these videos of like Matt Smith.
Yes.
Not like separating him from Damon and obsessing over him to where like that's your entire life. And I'm like, you're weird for that. I'm sorry, you are very strange. That's very strange behavior. I'm really excited to meet Matt and Fabian next month, but
it's already next month. I'm so excited for you.
Talk to them about how much I love the books and the show, and how I think they're both doing a really good job. Not to tell them that I'd be on my knees for them. That's so weird.
Well, Ashley, announce that. What are you doing?
Oh, I am meeting Matt Smith and Fabian next month at MegaCon.
Now, are you just getting pictures or are you doing like a table signing too?
I didn't do the autographs with them. I did the autographs with Andy and pictures. And let's see. And then I'm meeting Joseph Quinn, and I think that's it. I really wanted to meet the Phelps brothers, but I was like, that's another $160. I don't know if I need to spend any more than I've already spent.
No, I remember
I
you
was just
sending
going
us.
to say, if you were going to do a table signing, you can record on your phone. And I was going to request if you can say, Karen, my queen.
Oh my God!
Oh, I needed to. That's something. Yeah, we needed to go with Ashley to get her a table signing with Andy Serkis.
Yes, I am doing
Please.
that. I am doing
Please.
that. He is the only one that I paid for both. And I'm telling y'all, like, I am being in all seriousness. That's the one where I'm just going to be like, I'm going to freeze.
We're
I know
at
I'm going to
worst
freeze. I
levels
want
here.
to ask him questions. I want to say things, but I know I'm going to freeze because I'm such a huge fan.
I have
I
the
don't
best
often,
idea.
like, I've never met a celebrity before that I like was a huge fan, like where it was such a big deal. That for me is going to be like I'm gonna mean to ask him things and I'm not.
Ashley, have him and just record this and Eric can soundbite it. Have him say, "Welcome to the Wicked Witches of Westeros' page" in Gollum's voice.
I will.
Okay, yeah, let's try to do that. Let's hook that up. We're doing so. We're like Ashley. You need to get him to record an intro for the show, and also you need to deliver these 2 lockets to Matt and Fabian.
I'm very excited to give them their lockets. I'm very excited to give that to them. I think that they're going to really like them and appreciate the personal, like just the thought that was put into making them.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really excited to give them those. But I can't promise with Andy anything. I can just see myself going up to him and just freezing and being like,
I can level with you on that because when I met Hayden, I forgot to turn on the lights.
Man, that's photographed. We got evidence of that.
Yeah.
That was funny. That was just, I guess, adorable or something. Just like,
And then how she was like, I didn't turn on my lights.
yes, he held it, but he still held it.
He still held it out and everything. He didn't even think of, you want me to turn this on? I even changed the Kyber crystal to light blue to the one he had.
And it's like genuinely a super cute photo. Like my big thing about like paying money to have it's like the one photo, just one snap of one photo, that could be a bad photo. I'm like traumatized because I did one of those like, those like old Western style, you look like you're in a saloon. I was so fucking excited about it. So fucking excited. You get one shot and it was like, I was so oily. It was so bad. It was like not cute. I didn't want to keep it. And it like traumatized me. I'm like, I'm never paying for some again.
Okay, but
the amount of setting spray that I will be wearing both days is going to be obscene. I might use half the bottle for each day.
Okay, but you need to remember the Krampus photo.
True.
Yeah.
I had my photo taken with Krampus like several years
that's
ago.
right. That's right. That was such a good picture.
Yeah, it was. I don't know what possessed me to be like, can I sit in the chair? Because like in all of them previously, like Krampus was sitting in the chair, and I was like, I want to sit in the chair.
The shirt. That's the best part.
So that was that year that I had that portrait done. Was a holiday party for an ugly sweater party. So like, it's not really an ugly sweater, but it was like a silly sweater. So I had that printed on a sweatshirt. Was not sure. Oh no.
That's funny.
You've been blessed.
Oh yes, we have been blessed. I saw.
And may Hecate bless you. Let's see. Juan, do the High Towers know about the Long Night and that's why they wanted to marry into House Targaryen? I don't think so. I think House Hightower probably knows a lot of secrets because, being in Old Town, but I don't think that's one of them.
The Long Night. I mean, the Long Night is such a it's a legend. So I feel like tons of people
Pretty
know
much
about it.
everyone knows, yeah.
Like people have definitely heard about people have heard about the others,
I
but
guess, Juan, do you mean like more specifically like the prophecy, like the return of the long night kind of thing, versus like knowing about the long night generally speaking?
yeah, that's a good clarification because I'm
I think
always
that makes
interested in how
sense.
the George has created a world that kind of lives and breathes, thinking about what characters know about certain things. I still want to know what the hell a Grumpkin or a Snark is.
Me too. When are they going to show up?
Yeah, when are they gonna is it something, or is it just is it a nonsense word that he just came up with?
Yeah. So Juan, he said because in like the main series, Leighton seems to like know something, and they have like the Mad Maid. So I think like yes, this at least this generation is somewhat in the know, but I don't know that it like their knowledge of it goes back far enough that it would explain their like wanting to marry into the royal family, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I take them wanting to be next to the Targaryens is because I think part of the Hightower story is that they were kings, and then when I guess was it the Andals? That's when the Andals showed up, or whoever showed up to conquer them. They immediately, bowed, and they were immediately second in line, which is essentially being in charge if you know everything around the neighborhood. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's your neighborhood. You know all the lords. You know all these people. Unlike the invaders, but if you help the invader, you're basically in charge. I think that's what the Hightowers are doing at the time of the dance, and that's part of what was triggering it is that they were losing that control. So you got to put egg,
Oh,
you got to put Aegon on the throne because who was coming in, you know, way back, when Aemon was the heir. It's the Baratheons and the Velaryons, and then same still, the Velaryons are tied up with Rhaenyra's side. The Hightowers can't. They were getting pushed out, so of course they gotta put Aegon on the throne.
Yeah, that's a
oh,
good point.
so really, really quick, because I don't know whether or not Damon Backfire is going to be able to join us. Listening to Eris Oakhart's chapter while I was getting ready, and him talking about how Baelor fasted to repress his desire for his sister. Like, it just got me thinking that, like, back to that theory that Baelor the Blessed was really Damon Blackfire's father because he fasted himself to death at the end. Is that because he felt guilty for finally giving in? I mean,
I don't
that.
know. I haven't thought about that enough because that's one of
Oh,
those
I
things.
think about that. I think about that all the freaking
Well, it's
time.
one of those things
I
where I haven't decided what's the best story. You know?
Well,
Yeah.
I think it's the irony of it all. And also, not long after that, they have the discussion of, whether or not Daron is legitimately Aegon the Fourth's son, and he could be the son of the Dragon Knight. Now, I don't really like that one because I don't see, even though Nerys obviously loved her other brother, I don't see her doing something like that. I think that Daron is Aegon the Fourth's son, but I believe very strongly that Daemon is not his son, that he's Baelor's. Putting him at being very much, I mean, on being Jaina's son alone makes him the legitimate heir, but if he's also Baelor's son,
I see
I
what you're
mean,
saying. I don't. I don't know. I think I like him as a bastard. Do you think Otto thought Rhaenyra would bend the knee? Because Rhaena and Rhaenys both did. Rhaena.
Like Reina, Queen in the West and East.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, I don't think that's. I mean, they were talking about assassinating her from the get go. So I
They
don't. I
didn't
don't.
even, yeah, I would like, they didn't even want to deal with the possibility that she wouldn't. Like, so I guess they thought,
well, it didn't even matter because if she did bend the knee, that they were probably concerned about her heirs and the people to come after and things like that. So it would have been best to just annihilate her, like they were talking about, as well as her children.
Yeah, that's one of those things. Is we don't. I know I'm gonna get in trouble for it, but the book is written by an unreliable narrator. But that is one of the things. It's like the Green Council meeting. You can conspire yourself to your blue in the face of what actually happened there, as far as like what was really discussed. They don't. Sorry, I was listening to something about that scene earlier, and there's just a lot to think about because they're arguing. The Greens' arguments suck so much because they're all just conservatives. To bring it back to the political thing, they're just conservatives, and it's like that's a frustrating thing I have in the fandom is that like so many people who are like Team Green are like working through their like shitty political opinions, and it's just making
in
everything.
real time. Like we have to watch them do that in real time through a story. Like, yeah, that's rough.
Yeah,
Also,
I
I wanna
always
point
wonder.
out-
I always wonder about people like that, like the Team Green people. And I'm sorry, but the Stannis, the Manus people too, because Stannis is giving off those weird, like very extremist type vibes. I mean, it's not even giving off. He's doing that, and the people who support that are alarming to me because that is another person who's willing to do anything, even break the rules, and commit horrible atrocities to get what he wants, which is the throne.
Yeah. Oh, okay, Bela.
Not
You
not
really wanna
because
be
he
on the
has
stream.
any sort of not because he has any sort of plan to rule, but because he just wants to be in charge. He wants to force people to listen to him. And I don't know why
Well, it's his right. That's his
getting
whole.
into that.
That's his whole thing. Is that it's his right because it's the rules. But it's just it's like that's the thing that makes it like in our like we are okay. First off, it's a fantasy world. We can talk about you know modern concepts in it, but like that is what is actually conservative about Stannis is what no. For some reason, somebody reported you, Taryn. You're muted. We can't hear you. Taryn.
It's a nicotineless vapor. Y'all get over yourselves.
Oh, it was the vape. That's what it was. Gotcha.
I was trying to quit.
There's no nicotine in it.
So,
That's so dumb. But yeah, that's what I never really understand that people are not grasping with Stannis. Like, he literally, in the prologue of Clash, betrays the man who has raised him since he was a boy, like, who considers him like a son. He betrays him, allows him to be humiliated in front of everyone, allows him to be killed, trying to protect Stannis, mind you. And I don't understand how people are not grasping these things. Like from the very beginning, from our first encounter where we're introduced to Stannis, he is portrayed as a horrible person. And he's willing to do anything and trample over anyone and allow people like Crescent and Renly, who he actually kills himself, and Sir Courtney Penrose, like all of these people that he's willing to trample over to get what he wants. And he even tells Davos that he keeps Melisandre around not because he believes anything that she's saying, but because she scares people. And Stannis cannot have people love him. People don't like Stannis. People don't admire him or respect him. But Melisandre will make them fear him.
Yeah, I feel like people do not ever talk about that. They talk about that as if it's a positive thing because it means he's not a religious zealot. Okay, but he's not afraid to weaponize religious zealotry.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, come
So-
on. That's not a good trait in
makes-
somebody.
it makes everything so unstable too. Like to like that. There's a ton of history of that of when people change religions, on a mass scale, and it leads to revolutions. It's like
I mean, it's the exact same way, and I'm sorry to bring it back to politics, but it's the same way that Trump weaponizes Christianity to gain power. Like, he weaponizes their misogyny, their hateful rhetoric, and the things that they say and do to further their initiative. He uses that to further his own. And that's exactly what Stannis does.
I'll argue
Even
that
down
it's a
to
little.
the
I'll argue that
morals.
it's a little different because like this would be like if Trump was weaponizing Islam, and trying to like make everybody like not be a Christian. You know,
Yeah.
this is way more like Trump is way more like if there is a fucking like there's not really, because it's like Trump is a very American thing. Trump is like America to a T. So it's like there isn't really
Yeah.
like somebody in A Song of Ice and Fire that's like him, but you know,
It would
it would
be like if Stannis was using the Faith of the Seven.
yeah, it would be
What you're
closer to
saying is
like
like it would have to be more radical because Stannis is bringing over a quote foreign religion from Essos, really,
yeah, and it's
with their quote queer fire gods or whatever the fuck he says all the time. Or
Haley, I grappled with this a little bit too, but if you notice, even from the very beginning, when we're first introduced to Davos in the prologue, he is always questioning Stannis' decisions. And I mean, he tells Crescent, he's like, you go talk to him. I tried to reason with him. There's no talking to him. So even from the very beginning, you can tell that Davos is really not buying what Stannis is selling. It's like for someone like Davos, he feels like he owes Stannis. So that is where the loyalty comes from. He feels obligated to Stannis. And it's not because he thinks that Stannis is making the best decisions. He doesn't. He criticizes a lot of the choices that Stannis makes. I mean, to Stannis' face, he will tell Stannis, I don't agree with what you're doing. I mean, and he goes against Stannis all the time. I mean, take Edric Storm, for example. He knew that he could very well pay for that with his life. And he did it anyway because he said, you know what, Stannis, killing a child? No, I'm sorry. It's not right. And I'm not going to watch you do it. I'm not going to let you do it. So Davos is constantly going against him, but he stays because he feels obligated. So he feels like he owes Stannis something, and I cannot wait for the moment where Davos realizes that he's actually better than Stannis, and he doesn't owe him anything.
yeah, Davos definitely has room to grow when it comes to shedding the loyalty, because he like you said, it is just loyalty, and it is all about like following another, like, you know, the whole thing is about oaths essentially. I have
It's like
been on
Daenerys
that
and
I have been on
Viserys.
that kick about the series for a long time of how everything in this world is an oath, and like George keeps examining the way in which people deal with these oaths, because like, you know, there's the direct ones with like Jamie about how you can't wait, was it Jamie that said that you can't follow one without besmirching another?
Yes.
Yeah, so there's
I
like
was gonna
that
say it's
kind
a
of direct
similar.
stuff, but there's also like the oaths that the king has for the lords, and the lords have to the king, and the serf and the small folk have to the lords, and it's just like your oaths to like your religion, which is all
Yep.
tied into the knighthood stuff. And anyways,
Yep.
he
Yeah, I think that
I mean,
Stannis and Jamie have similar like lessons to learn and then things to unlearn, you know? Because like all these characters are in the middle of their arcs, and I feel like people don't contextualize that a lot. Like Davos is clearly being set up to break away from Stannis. Like he's getting there. He's going to come to that conclusion, right? Like, but
it's
he
going to
just
have to be, I think it's going to have to be something big. It's like with Dany and Viserys.
Shireen.
Dany knew
yeah, I
that
think it would be
Viserys was.
Shireen, and I think it would be something like the show where he's not going to be able to directly confront Stannis at that point. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen to Stannis after Shireen, because obviously Davos isn't going to be around for that. But it all just kind of depends. He may never get to reconcile with that with Stannis, but at that point, at least he will have been broken off from it. But it's kind of similar to the situation with Dany and Viserys. Dany is loyal to him, even though she knows what he has become, until it becomes like literally she's left with no other choice other than to leave him behind.
Yeah, to go back to what you were saying about you don't know what will happen to Stannis after Shireen, I imagine things devolving really rapidly after Shireen.
That's what I would think.
Like really rapidly. And so I imagine that the Davos will hear about it like after Stannis is dead.
I mean, either Stannis walks into the flames after realizing that everything he's done, literally everything he's done, from letting Crescent be killed all the way up until burning his own child will have been for naught. There was no point. And so at that, I think that's his breaking moment in which he realizes that it's meant nothing and walk into the flames and just be done.
Look, we really need to just be discussing more important things like how is Jon Azor Ahai, and how is he the super secret it's going to rule
Dare
everybody.
bring us back to this place.
Please don't encourage them to get in the chat. Please don't encourage it.
Well, but I like making people feel uncomfortable, especially when they have shitty opinions.
Yeah, I mean,
the thing about Jon too is how much I love Jon's character and how much I wish I could talk more about him. I mean, I made my entire Ice Dragon series about Jon. I love him, but please stop trying to make him something he's not. Like,
yeah, the fandom was like I said, the fandom gets so annoying. So I'm sorry, but I'm bitching at the fandom right now because I have just had a string of just shitty. Like I sent y'all one about how somebody pointed out that in the original A Game of Thrones appendix, Rhaenyra is only a year older than Aegon, and they're full siblings. So clearly, the dance couldn't have been about her inheriting over him. So what do you think it was actually about? And it's like, and what? Why? How does your brain work that way? And you don't think that the fact that she's a full sibling would make that story even more like direct?
I think that
it's clearly always been about like her being a woman and being the oldest child. Like,
well, yeah, and it's also
George
the fact
introducing Alicent and the second marriage and the fact that they're half siblings is his way of complicating it. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know why people think it had to have been something like, oh, she claimed Vhagar and then wanted to take over.
I mean, it's clear that George changes his mind on stuff too. It's like, oh, this was his original intention. Well, his original intention was for Jaime to be king in the main series. Like, George is allowed to change his mind and evolve the story where he thinks it should go. So it doesn't matter what his intention the first time was. Although, I mean, you could still make the argument that Rhaenyra is still older. So, I mean, it's still the same point, but he changed it to the way that it is because it makes more sense to him. And honestly, it makes more sense to the reader for it to be set up the way that it is.
Well,
so it doesn't
me,
matter what
I don't get is people who think that like because they were full siblings that automatically it can't have been about her inheriting first, because it's like that's just the inherent like misogyny of it all, because it's like for some reason it makes more sense that they were half siblings rather than full siblings. Like I don't get that, other than the fact that you really think that women shouldn't inherit. And it's so frustrating to be in this fandom. Because even when you try to get into like the nitty-gritty discussions, it's just like you have to deal with like so much pre-programmed nonsense in people that they don't even realize that they believe.
Because men have been doing such a good job leading. Such a good job.
Yeah, and the whole thing about like the posters, that was so annoying when people were upset that Aegon wasn't on the poster for season 2.
Honestly, it was always the princess and the queen. Like that is what that is what the main conflict was always all about. Even in Fire and Blood, it's still, I mean, and you don't know what's true or what's not true in Fire and Blood, but what you can deduce from all of it is it's still Alicent versus Rhaenyra. And that's what the show wanted to leave the main focus on, was the two of them. I love the fact that they made them of a similar age, because that makes the rivalry more on level and make more sense. I think that it was always their story and Aegon was just roped into it. So, it irritates me.
Well, no, Aegon did it because he was scared for his children's lives. and the show is just trying to ruin another young man.
I mean, Aegon wouldn't have even been involved in any of it had Alicent not dragged him into it. And well, obviously, not just her, but Otto and Crispy Cole. I mean, everyone dragged him into it. If it wasn't for the conflict between these two women, none of this would have happened. So, I mean, it was always their battle.
No, yeah, it's a lot of the fandom is just not fun anymore, and it's a lot of people
Now, don't get me
working through their
wrong.
own.
The fault of it will always lie with Jaehaerys the First and Viserys, because I mean they're the ones who orchestrated this nightmare and set it up to where things were going to eventually blow up. But the conflict is between Alicent and Rhaenyra.
Yeah, Aegon was raised to be a puppet and sit there and do as they
Yeah.
say. And I will. What was I going to say? The like I said, I'm just frustrated with the fandom, especially like because it's on TikTok. It's gotten worse because there's been a dip in like there's not really a whole lot of people doing like good book content. It has been more than 13 years, but still we can have discussions, and then so it all being show content, and then even if you get two people talking about the books, there's so much like shitty ideology that you have to uncouple to even like try to talk to them. It's just not fun. It's not fun.
Well, my thing is, and this is where like I was going to get kind of problematic on TikTok. And again, I was never going to mention any names just because that's not the path I want to go down. Like we've already said our piece and that's past. But the thing that irritates me is that the people who get the most traction are the people who are just making book content for show only dummies. And no one wants to hear about deep lore and theories and analysis and things like that. They just want the same videos every single day talking about the same things that are from show to book, like how like the similar stories and things. They don't want anything new or any kind of analysis or deep dives into anything like that. That's just not what they're interested in. They just want repetitive content, and that's it.
See, Jaehaerys one angers me. Yeah, Jaehaerys gets way too much credit for building the roads. Especially when like everything is just getting built up. Like, Jaehaerys, he was just there at the time. Like, at a certain point, like this is true in history too about like the idea of like the great man. It's like they actually didn't do all the work. A bunch of other people did the work, and even if he did do all the work, like what other people weren't going to figure out that they needed roads. So at that point, let's examine what he did and maybe like how he treated with the faith and maybe how he treated with his family and how like things got worse because of a succession crisis that he participated in making come about.
I just think it's really interesting how things would have been so different had succession gone in the way of like traditional Valyrian style or Dornish tradition, where it would have been Visenya, then Maegor, and obviously Maegor wouldn't have had any living children. So, I mean, whether or not his brother was still alive, like then it would have been Aenys, and then Rhaena.
No, say his name right.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. George, I'm sorry. Like, I get that he's got his sense of humor. No. I'm not saying it like that, George. I'm not. And then Rhaena, I really do. I don't know about any of the others, but I really think that Rhaena could have been a great queen. I do. So how things would have been so much different had she been queen.
We at least would have had more dragons.
We would have had a lot more dragons.
Which is why I think she was so fiercely opposed.
I think, well, I really do. I think she would have been so much better and more competent and stronger and just more prosperous for the realm had Rhaena been the one in charge as opposed to Jaehaerys.
Well, when people criticize her ability to like be a leader, it's always about shit she did later in her life after all the wrongs that were done to her and all the loss that she experienced. If she had been queen as she should have been from the beginning, a bunch of that shit wouldn't have happened. She wouldn't have become what she became.
Yeah,
She would have. What was that?
people individualize the characters, I think, a lot, which is
for sure.
sort of understandable. It's fiction. That's kind of the way like stories are made. But like you said, like if she had been queen, like there's a whole like what's the word, infrastructure to make the king successful or the monarch successful. So it's like she didn't have any of that behind her. So,
yeah, exactly.
Arya wouldn't have left. She may have claimed Balerion still, but she wouldn't have left.
Guys, I have a 5-minute call because the Littles has a doctor's appointment.
Okay.
yeah, I was about to say I have 5. I got to go back inside, so
I'm getting to that time as well. Sorry, I've been kind of distracted. I'm still catching up on work from being out.
But yeah, I didn't get anything from Damon, so I think unfortunately we're not going to be able to. We're going to have to reschedule.
Yeah, we can reschedule
Yeah,
that.
with
I keep forgetting I'm on mute. Maybe next week.
yeah, maybe
Yeah,
next week.
we'll have to keep doing these like until we may not be able to use this app anymore.
She was traumatized over and over. People are messy. Some people can't deal with that. Yeah. And that's true
Yeah,
for
and a lot of that
so many
trauma
characters in the
wouldn't
fandom.
have happened had she been queen, and people never consider that she would have been a completely different person had things not gone the way they did. I mean, yeah, she still would have lost a lot, but not nearly as much.
Excuse me. Sorry, y'all. I didn't mean to do that into the mic.
That's okay. How dare you be a human being eating lunch?
But this is fun. So this is the thing that we've been talking about this whole time. TikTok may be coming to an end. What is the future? What are we doing? And the answer is we're already out there, folks. We've already been on YouTube. We're already on for your listening pleasures, both YouTube and Spotify, where we have full episodes as well as clips, but ultimately everything is probably going to be moving over to our other platforms. So follow us YouTube, Instagram, Spotify. Spotify's new, so
my goal is definitely for Spotify to become a bigger thing for our group, because Spotify is so much easier. You can listen to it. You can listen to it at the gym. You can listen to it at work if you have that kind of job. I mean, it's so much more convenient. Like while you're driving, you can listen to it. It's easier because you're not watching a video. It's just something that you can play like Audible. So it makes it so much more convenient, and that's where I think it'll be a lot easier for us to move.
Will you guys go live on YouTube or Instagram? We're gonna be experimenting with. We may still be going live, but ultimately TikTok really does a lot of the legwork, the technical legwork, to get us to host these group lives. It's a lot more difficult, and there's a lot more stuff going on to do it on YouTube and Instagram. But YouTube for live streams and maybe even Twitch. So be on the lookout. We'll be putting stuff out there, and on Blue Sky. We are on Blue Sky, and hopefully we'll be putting out like more text updates. But yeah, follow us on YouTube, on Instagram, on Spotify, and Blue Sky. And hopefully we can say goodbye to this app in style.
You want 6 hours from you
guys? Y'all,
we can do it.
There's the lost episodes, which I made a typo in. It's like about, I think it's close to like 10 hours of stuff. So
I mean, listen. Don't test me, especially don't test me or don't test Chelsea as well, because we can talk for 6 hours.
Yeah, I'm a little off my game today. I'm a little quiet today, but I'm here listening. And I got shit to say, but it's gonna wait till next week.
This has been fun, everybody, and glad to have everybody back for our weekly chats. And we're going to do this as long as we can, and then we'll just find a substitute whenever it comes. So make
Yes,
sure
ma'am.
that you subscribe to the Wicked Witches of Westeros on YouTube
And Spotify.
and Spotify.
And,
Yes,
and
it's
TikTok
the
while we're
same.
still here.
It's the same username, TWWO Westeros on all
This,
the platforms. It's the
I don't know
same
what to do with
username
this
as on
hair.
TikTok.
I'm going to post a video that has everything in it. I'm making a master post.
Yeah, I'll make one too before the end. Everybody's asking me to do one more Jon Snow video. So
Yes, yes.
I gotta
You
come
have
up
to-
with something. My last hurrah.
Okay, guys.
Bye,
I'll talk to you
everybody.
in
Have a
chat.
great
Yeah,
day.
bye-bye,
Happy
y'all.
New Year's.
Bye.